People aren't boring. Our questions are. And when we ask boring questions, we get boring answers. Have you ever been in a conversation and it's like your brain disappears and you don't know what to ask because all pressure's on you and it's a new situation, and so you just default to those 5 words. So what do you do? So what do you do? And the moment you say it, you already know that this conversation is going to be polite and pleasant and also completely forgettable. Now here's the thing that most people don't realize. Your mind doesn't go blank during small talk because you're bad at conversation. It goes blank because you're relying on a default, an easy to access question that we've always had. And our brain reaches for the easiest option available, not the most interesting one, not the most creative one, not the most exciting one. And when we ask boring questions, what do we get? We get boring answers. And this doesn't mean that you're boring, and it doesn't mean that the person that you're talking to is boring. It just means that the question didn't give either of you anything to actually work with. I noticed this really clearly a couple of weeks ago at a networking event, and instead of trying to be on, I decided to treat it like a little social experiment. And I stopped leading conversations and just observed what happened when I followed instead. Same room, same people, but way different experiences. Some conversations started exactly how you would expect. So what do? How was your Christmas? Did you go away over the holidays? So, perfectly nice questions, but all very safe, very, expected, and every single one of those conversations followed the same pattern, which was polite, short, pleasant, and over within a few minutes. No spark, no momentum, no creativity, no reason for either of us to actually keep talking beyond being nice and polite. And honestly, no one goes to a networking event hoping to be remembered as nice. You go to create new connections, and the foundation of a new connection is genuine interest and a spark and cool energy and creativity and curiosity and all of these amazing things that don't live in small talk. So then something interesting happened. One conversation didn't actually start with a question at all. Someone looked at me and said something that I love to hear, which was, "I love the color of your hair." And instantly my brain just wakes up. We started talking about hair texture and curly hair and color changes over the years and how identity and self-expression show up in like the smallest details. So again, same event, same setting, completely different energy in that particular conversation. And that was such a perfect example of how small talk doesn't fail because people don't know what to say. It fails because we keep opening a door that is a predictable door that leads nowhere or to a very, very short conversation. And stock standard questions create stock standard conversations. They don't invite imagination. They don't invite emotion. They don't invite creativity. They don't invite stories. They don't invite the best part of us. And they don't excite us. They're not engaging. They don't stimulate us and they don't nourish us. So later in the night, I started to play with this deliberately, and I started to swap default questions for very curious questions, not complicated ones and not clever ones, just questions that opened up a different door, a bigger door. And instead of what do, I asked, what's something that you're really excited to create this year? Instead of asking, how was your Christmas? I said, what is one thing you are so happy to leave behind in 2025? As well as, what is one goal you're secretly very excited about for 2026? What can't you wait to get started? And the difference was instant. Their posture changed, their tone changed, they stopped giving rehearsed answers and actually started to think and to consider, and they smiled more and they leaned in. Their energy shifted entirely because suddenly conversations became harder to end, not because they were forced, but because they were alive and they were engaged. And there was true meaning in that discussion. And this is the part that actually surprises people. Really good small talk isn't about having better answers. It's always about asking better questions, and questions that don't ask for a rehearsed performance, but instead invite reflection, because that leads to more meaningful discussions. Our mind goes blank when we feel pressure to sound interesting, but when we ask others and ourselves to just get curious, it's so easy and effortless. And curiosity doesn't need to be dramatic. It can be as simple as noticing something and naming it. A detail, an energy, a choice someone made, something interesting that you observe. You might see their energy in their eyes look a little bit more alive when they talk about a particular thing. That is a point of passion that can lead to a much better discussion. The other hidden reason that our minds go blank during small talk is because we rush. We fill the space. We fire off our first question, and then because silence feels uncomfortable with someone we don't know, we just keep asking more boring questions. So when we slow down as well, that gives us more room to creatively find new questions to ask, and it also just changes the energy from rushed, boring, paced, rehearsed to something that's far more present and meaningful. So when you start to consider that small talk is like a doorway into curious conversations and no longer something that you need to escape and that is painful, it actually changes the way you orient towards it, and it changes the dynamic of the conversations and the connections you'll create. And the best part is that you don't need a list of scripted questions. You just need to pause long enough to choose curiosity over habitual patterns or curiosity over the familiar. And if you believe that confidence comes from always knowing what to say, this experience of being present in the moment and focusing on curiosity will change that forever. True confidence comes from being present in every single moment. And no one demonstrates confidence better than Taylor Swift. Bet you weren't expecting me to mention her name. If you watch this next video, you'll discover exactly what Taylor Swift understands about confidence that most people completely miss, especially when all eyes are on you.